My name is Wendy Roman, and I am the Shelter Services Coordinator for Connections for Abused Women and Their Children's Greenhouse Shelter. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the organization and some of the services that we provide. With our 41st anniversary of our shelter, coming March 8th of this year, we will be celebrating International Women's Day. Our shelter provides services such as counseling, legal advocacy, as well as shelter. We provide basic necessities, food, toiletries, and things of that nature. If you happen to know somebody who is dealing with domestic violence, or you yourself are experiencing domestic violence, feel free to give us a call and ask any questions that you might have. Our number is 312-738-1060. We can answer any questions that you might have pertaining to any of the services or any questions that you might have. So we do have, aside from a shelter, we have a couple other sites. We have the Humboldt Park Outreach Program, which provides walk-in services as well as appointment services for legal advocacy, counseling services, and things of that nature. We do have legal advocates who often travel with victims of domestic violence and help them with assisting them through the process of initiating the process of petitioning for an order of protection, either in criminal or civil court. We also have programs at Haymarket and two other programs at Stroger and Northwestern Hospital. So if any of the doctors that are assessing any patient feel like one of their patients might be experiencing some kind of domestic violence, they can go ahead and call one of our advocates to come and assess the situation and provide resources and information to any of the victim who is experiencing domestic violence. Our program is completely free. All the services are free. We provide all the services. We provide information free of charge. It's extremely confidential. There's no charge for anything. If you have a question, you can call. We actually have our hotline information. So you can contact our 24-hour hotline at 773-278-4566. Or you can also visit our website at www.cawc.org. If you want to donate or you feel like you want to learn a little bit more information about the services that we provide, you're more than welcome to go ahead and give us a call, whether it's the hotline or visit our webpage. And we recently updated our website, so it's a lot of information there. We also have opportunities coming up for internships, as well as anybody who wants to go ahead and volunteer. We do have volunteer opportunities available for you as well. So our next training session will take place in May, and you can go ahead and visit the website or give us a call, and we can provide you with more information and put you in contact with the person who will assist you with being able to take the training and volunteer for our agency. Some of the common questions that we have pertaining to domestic violence is, why did he do it? The reality is we don't really have an answer as to why, the abuser did what he or she did. There's a series of different, possible explanations. But it all leads back to power and control. And there's different types of abuse. There's economic abuse where, if you're working, maybe your abuser ends up taking your paychecks and says, if you need anything, you have to let me know and I will give you the money that you're making. There's sexual abuse. You don't know how many different times I've heard people say, well, that's my husband or that's my boyfriend, and, he forced me to be sexually active with him or her, and, I didn't want to do it. No is no. If you don't want to be, no matter if it's your boyfriend, your husband, or, somebody you just met, no is no, and that's considered sexual abuse. A lot of times what we'll find is intimidation as well, where a lot of times the abuser will put the children and say, if you have children, I'm going to take the kids away from you, or, the kids are going to pay the consequences if you decide to leave me. And so a lot of times what happens is victims of domestic violence will decide to stay and not leave the abuser. I've received multiple phone calls from family members who say, you know what? I have a relative who's currently experiencing domestic violence. They left the abuser and now they're returning to the abuser. I don't know what to do. How can I better assist them? I know it's difficult to hear, but the best way to assist them is to be there for them, to acknowledge, the situation, and just let them know that everything's going to be okay. And when they're ready, you'll be there to support them and guide them through the process of leaving and ensuring that they get out of the relationship safely. You can't force somebody to go to counseling or to do something that they don't want to do. And a lot of times it's very difficult for a relative to hear that because they wish that they could do a lot more. But sadly, that's really the best thing that you can do, because if you call the police, maybe that might create a bigger issue or put the survivor's life at risk, but with the abuser, if they are currently living together. It's statistically shown that it takes approximately 7 times for a survivor to leave the abusive situation. And it'll take time. They might end up leaving and they're not ready, and so they end up coming back, and then they leave again and they come back, and it's a process. But knowing that they have that support system, or that there's somebody out there that isn't judging them, makes a huge difference. So like I said, if there's anybody that that's currently experiencing domestic violence, if you yourself is experiencing domestic violence, or if you have any kind of questions, you can go ahead and give us a call at 312-738-1060. I'm sorry. You can also, again, like I said, you can call our 24-hour domestic violence hotline at 773-278-4566. The website is www.cawc.org. Again, it's 24 hours. In case you have any questions, somebody, or you want to just talk to somebody, we do provide counseling services over the phone. If there's any type of question, please give us a call. Another situation that often we see in clients that come into our shelter is, it was difficult for me to decide to leave because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know that there was resources available. There's plenty of resources available. It's just a matter of, reaching out, and that's why we're trying to do a lot of reaching out to the community and letting them know, hey, there's options, because a lot of times, we've seen multiple women being killed as a result of domestic violence. They tried to leave, but they had nowhere safe to go. And so they ended up staying in the relationship, and what happens is they end up getting killed. So, please, 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 if you know somebody, don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to give them the information. If you are somebody who has called our organization or plans to call, and if you eventually plan to leave, it's important that you attempt to call several other organizations, so that, let's say you get accepted into our program and you're working with us, we want to ensure that we don't let your abuser know that you're going to be with us, just to ensure the safety. There's so many ways that we can create a safety plan. Whether it's, for you deciding to stay in the relationship or for you leaving the relationship, it's important that, you know what your options are, and that you know what the plan is going to be. And that's what we're here for, to provide you with that information, to provide you with the resources that you may need to either decide to stay in the relationship or leave the relationship. Like I mentioned before, we do have legal advocates. If you're deciding that, I'm done with it and I want to get an order of protection because I don't it doesn't seem like we're going to get anywhere. And I really just, I've tried everything. I've called the police. I've done so many things, and he still keeps coming back. Maybe I think that an order of protection is going to help. We can go ahead and assist you with the order of protection. We have legal advocates who can accompany you to court, fill out the paperwork, present yourself in front of the judge, and explain your situation and why you're petitioning the order of protection. The initial order of protection is approximately 2 to 3 weeks, and you do have to go back to court before you get the extended order. In that period of time, they have to notify your partner that there is an order of protection against them. And once they have been served, then the order takes effect. It does not take effect, even if you go and the judge grants it to you, until your partner has been notified and has been served with the order. He or she will still continue, and they will not break the law. Once they have been served with the order, then it's a different story, because then they would, you can easily, what we encourage you to do is keep calling the police, and until they've been served. Once they've been served and they go ahead and break that order, then you can press charges against them, and they could potentially go to jail, because it is a felony for them to break an order of protection. And the orders of protection do vary depending on the situation. It could be an instance where it's a no contact whatsoever. There may be others where it's, okay, we're going to live under the same roof, but there should be no abuse going on. There's others that say, okay, you and I should have no contact whatsoever, but you can have contact with the children. There could be supervised visitations. A lot of times too, what I inform a lot of our clients, when we see if it's difficult for an adult to deal with the abuse and deal with the relationship, we can only imagine how difficult it is for children to adjust to a lot of what they're seeing, a lot of what they've experienced. And sometimes, we've seen parents who say, oh, they weren't present, or they were in another room, so I made sure that they didn't witness the abuse. Their brain is like a little sponge, and so they understand and they see and know a lot more than you think. And so it's important to also acknowledge that they have feelings, that they are also experiencing domestic violence. It's not just you experiencing it, it's also the children experiencing it. A lot of times, the abuser might not only abuse you, he or she might also be abusing the children. The children might, be suffering from emotional abuse, where they're being called out of their name, or, they're being threatened, or there's also situations where they're physically abused or sexually abused by the abuser themselves. And so that's why it's also very important to be aware of all of these signs and to teach your children how to ask for help. What are some signs of abuse? Who are safe people that they can talk to and disclose this information to if need be. If you have somebody that you can talk to or create a safety plan with, we also encourage that. For example, if you have, a neighbor that you trust who knows what you're experiencing, maybe letting them know, hey, you know what, if, the curtain is down and it's always up, that might mean that, I need some assistance with contacting the police because my life might be in danger. Or it's teaching a child not to get involved in the situation. You don't know how many times we've heard or we've seen of children trying to defend the parent and getting involved in the abusive situation. And a lot of times they end up getting hurt or injured. So it's really important that we also teach our kids not to get involved and that they need to go ask for help. How to dial 911 if, there's a need be for the child to call for backup from police, or how to go talk to the neighbor. Also, if you don't feel comfortable with the abuser picking up your child from school, maybe talking to the personnel at school and letting them know, hey, you know what, this is the situation, this is what we're dealing with. This is the code word for when my child gets picked up, and maybe having that code word, like, if this person says that I sent them, they should give you the code word before you release my children. It's also important to know that when you have an order of protection, it's important that you provide one to your employer and that you provide a copy to the school, because if there's a no contact order of protection, it's important that you notify the school that they cannot release the child or provide any kind of information to the abuser regarding your child or yourself. A lot of times people don't know that, and so what ends up happening is the abuser will try and go pick up the kids, and then he or she ends up taking the children, and so now it's a battle of trying to get the children back, or it's the school is not aware of the situation, and so now they've been notified about where the survivor has moved to, if they move to a different place. It's really important that these are things that we consider when we're in a domestic violence situation. As I mentioned before, we do have a 24-hour hotline which you can contact. It's open 365 days a year, and the number is 773-278-4566. We also have more information about our services or the agency as a whole. You can visit our website at www.cawc.org. In the webpage, we also have a list of items that you can go ahead and donate if you feel like you want to donate, whether it's monetary assistance or maybe actual items that you want to donate. We also have our annual gala coming up, which you can find more information about in our website. You can feel free to purchase your tickets online. And to be able to be a part of this movement and to be a part of this change that we're trying to create, in providing more awareness about domestic violence to individuals and providing services to women and children and males who are experiencing domestic violence and are either fleeing an abusive relationship or if they decide to stay. It's also important as family, friends, to be there for individuals with no judgment, because a lot of times we've seen that individuals who experience domestic violence will not come to us because they feel that they're going to be judged because they decided to stay or they went back with the abuser on multiple occasions after their relatives told them that, that wasn't something that they should be doing. Again, like I said, you're more than welcome if you have questions to go ahead and give us a call. You can call Hotline 21 at 312-738-1060. If you have any questions, if you know anybody who has any questions at this particular moment, if you happen to have any questions or you are afraid of asking the question on live TV, you can go ahead and give us a call at the hotline, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have pertaining to any of the services. Everything is free and is strictly confidential. We have bilingual staff who will be able to assist you if you don't speak English. We have, staff who speak Spanish, some who speak Hindi or things of that nature. And so it's important that you're aware that there's languages available. So if English is not your first language or it's not the language that you know, there's always staff, or we can find an interpreter who will be able to translate the entire conversation so that we can go ahead and discuss more information about it. Like I said, we are almost reaching March 8th, which is International Women's Day, and it is our 41st birthday of the shelter. So it all initiated in 1975 when a group of women decided that they needed to do more to create awareness and to try and do something about the amount of abuse that women and children were experiencing. And so they got together and they created what we now call CAWC, or Connections for Abused Women and Their Children, was formerly known as the Chicago Abused Women Coalition. And so a couple years later, about 4 years later, after a lot of hard work, a lot of advocacy, they were able to create the first shelter in Chicago, which was Greenhouse Shelter, and it was created in 1979. And we were able to create services that were free access to individuals who needed them. We were able to create a hotline which allowed individuals who were experiencing domestic violence to be able to reach out. If they couldn't show up in person, they were able to call over the phone and receive counseling services or any kind of assistance that was needed immediately. We were able to provide more outreach services and information to people of different nationalities. We don't discriminate based on race, nationality, sexual orientation. Anyone who's experiencing domestic violence is more than welcome to reach out and receive services through our organization. If you find that we're not the best program for you, we are also more than happy to assist you and refer you to other programs that might be able to fit the needs that you're looking for. Once again, our information is 773-278-4566. If you want to speak to a counselor in private, again, if you're in a safe place and you feel like you want to talk to someone, go ahead and give them a call. If you're fleeing an abusive relationship or you just want more information, go ahead and call our 24-hour hotline. Or if you want to do a little bit more and be a part of our agency, whether it's donating or volunteering, you can go ahead and visit our website at www.cawc.org. Again, if you have any questions for the last couple of minutes that we do have here, you can go ahead and call 312-738-1060. We do have availability. If you don't speak English, we can work something out. We can speak another language with you. We will be more than happy to assist you and guide you in the best way possible and provide you with all the resources and options that you do have available. Individuals who fear that they're going to be forced to do something that they don't want to do, just a reminder that, we do whatever option works best for you. We don't force you to do something that you're not comfortable with. Our job is to provide you with the resources and the information available, and then ultimately you make the best decision for yourself. Or, what works for one person doesn't always work for somebody else. So thank you guys for watching. Again, our 24-hour hotline is always available. We also have the Illinois Domestic Violence Hotline. If you live in Illinois but you don't particularly live in Chicago, you can always call the hotline. The number is 877-2NDV or 877-863-6338. Again, 877-863-6338, which is our Illinois Domestic Violence Hotline. So please feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. Also, feel free to contact us at our 24-hour hotline through the agency if you have any questions or need additional resources. Again, if you feel like you want to donate monetarily or if there's certain items that you think you will be able to assist with, go ahead and visit our website for more information. Thank you.